Hello everyone, welcome back to my world here. I'm going to be showing you different ways to implement artificial intelligence and ChatGPT pretty much to enhance the immersion in your Minecraft server. And I don't really know how many people use these tools to create things like lore or to generate ideas for things you can't really think of. I don't really know if that's a common thing. Let me know down below if you find yourself using these tools to help you. But since ChatGPT has been made public in the past year or so, we've used it extensively to create different items in our world that we otherwise don't really know how to do, or we just need some help with because we run out of ideas. So one of the most common ones that we start with are menu items. And there are dozens of restaurants and fast food chains in our server. Check out our other videos if you want a more extensive view of this world. But this is just a simple fine dining area in the swamp city. And I believe the menu items were started with ChatGPT, and then we kind of revised it to fit our style. So yes, we started with his intro. I think we did this by hand. But yes, most of these items were AI generated, and yeah, we did add some of our own flair. I don't want you to read all that, but yeah, it just kind of fills in the gaps. It gives us some extra ideas. It inputs a lot of different cultural items for the style we were going for, which is kind of like southern style restaurant food items, like Louisiana kitchen kind of vibes. And we're not from that region, we don't really have experience with those items frequently, so using a tool like ChatGPT is really helpful for filling in those gaps. And especially if you have a sort of theme to your restaurant, if it was like sci-fi themed, if it had a lot of Eastern cultures like Japanese, Chinese food items, it can just give you really insightful ideas on how to navigate those styles without you having to do too much research yourself. What we want you to get away with this video is not that you can solely rely on using AI to help you, but it kind of just supplements that extra mile pretty much of things you don't really know how to do yourself. All right, on to our second category. We're heading into our Supreme Court here in our capital city, and this kind of segues into our next topic, which has to do with legal documentation or other litigation. I don't know how to format these kind of documents because really that's the job of attorneys and lawyers, so using tools like AI can fill in those more official documentation items that you don't really know how to format. And this is not the best example, but this is reading off a verdict from the grand jury here of one of these CEOs, and it kind of lays out all these different charges. But I didn't really know how to start with that. I know I wanted to include that in here just to have as like a lore item to refer back to, but I used AI to give me that kickstart. And this can be in the form of a verdict or other evidence charges you have in a open trial that the witnesses can read. Just typing that into the chat bot will give you a lot of ammo to use when it comes to role playing. But this is just one of the items that I found AI to be really useful in. On to our next category. We're heading to this wonderful motel in our city of North Fannin, and we're going to go into the manager's office here. And our next topic has to do with writing letters or notices, but I already have the notice here, and as you can read, you don't have to read the whole thing, but this is a letter from the parent company of this motel stating their concerns over the quality of their establishment. As you can see, the disheveled parking lot, and some of the rooms are pretty pretty barren here and not many tenants or guests that often. So it's just another way, if you don't really know how to word these things and you don't really think that is a good use of your time, you can just have them whip up this fictional piece of correspondence that you can just include in chats every so often. It doesn't have to be all the time, but it just kind of gives it that next level of immersion when you can just peek into these books every so often, and then it kind of encapsulates the character of whatever establishment it's in. And I'll show you another example of a different kind of letter that we used ChatGPT to help us with. So currently we're at the University of Hogtown, which we featured in our previous video, or one of our previous videos on our multiple colleges and universities. But a great use of AI are in these applications of different faculty members that applied. So literally everything, I think I just copied and pasted. It's 30 different pages. You can tell that I didn't take any regard to formatting, but this is just an application that I used to have a fictional professor apply to the school with all these degrees and publications. And I just didn't think I wanted to type that all out. Occasionally, I think I would sit down and do it, but I just wanted to quickly have an application in here where this one's accepted versus the rejected ones. That would have taken me quite a long time to do, and I would have to figure out how to format that and make up all these fake school names and degrees. And I think that's just an easy way to save time, is to have these long letters or applications. Okay, this next category is one of my favorite uses, is these publications or journals or newspapers. This is a really great option when you don't have any meat or substance to your world's lore. So we have this newsstand here that's very simple, but each of these are different publications. But this is a list of the top schools from the Toydaria Star, which is the one of the town publications. And I know I did a lot of manual tweaking to this, but I know I used some AI to help me generate some of the topics here and these categories for ranking all these different schools. But this is a great example of mixed use of manual input versus having the generative AI kind of step in to give you some ideas for like these school mascots and other statistics that you can put in here. But this was a really fun opportunity for me to build a lot of lore with the prestige of each school, and to give it sort of an aura of excellence, or kind of like being in the dumps. So this was a really fun project, and this comes in many different forms. Let's see this one. Yeah, this is another sort of, I don't know if I used AI completely in this one, but it's sort of a mix. I definitely don't want to rely on it too much, but in a stretch it can definitely come in handy for these really long articles, or even when it comes to writing novels. We do spend most of our time manually writing out these pieces of literature in our world that come back and are significant, but if you don't think that's something you're up for, you can totally have like libraries in your world be created with generative AI, and it kind of makes it go quicker. But that's like one of the fastest ways to create lore in your world, is to create books. So this is one of our biggest libraries in our world, and most of it is just blank bookshelves, but some of it actually has pieces of literature in here that sometimes uses AI to help get the ball rolling. So that's one of my favorite uses, are the really long things that you don't want to type out yourself, which is pretty much what most people use AI for in their school lives and in their work. So I know what you're doing. Can't hide. So now we're kind of running into the same kind of use cases for using AI. It pretty much comes down to generating text for lore building in your world. And I know there are a million other use cases that you can use them for. For example, in our world, we have a street address for every single property that's in here, and we catalog them on a spreadsheet, and there's street names for every single building. So if you don't know what to name your streets, to create unique names for every single street, AI can be a great thing to create these names, like Carl Road, for example. And it can generate some really convincing ones, or you can ask it to name it in a certain theme, like medieval style or like British sounding street names. And that can really manifest itself in things other than just street names, but you kind of get the point of how we use these tools to fill in that last gap of creativity that we can't come up with ourselves, or prefer not to, just to save some time. But I'm gonna now take you into a simulation of what we would do to generate this text through their website and implementing that into our world. I hope you can see my screen right now. I'm in ChatGPT on their 3.5 model, because I'm not rich enough to afford the new one, but this is more than enough for me to get some creativity. So I try to give the chatbot enough details to make it really tailored to what I want in my world. So just going off the street names, for example, I'll say like create 10 sci-fi themed street names for a city on a historical river. I don't know. You can add as much detail as you want, but look at that. Instantly create some of these names with that sci-fi theme to it. And then if I'm not satisfied, it can be like, give me 10 more. And then there's that. When I talked about menu items, this is one of my favorites. So I'll say, create a cocktail menu for a Mediterranean themed restaurant with a pirate and I'm really trying here, guys. A pirate and robot theme. This is crazy. Look at this. This is amazing. It synthesizes all of those criteria and the metadata I gave it. And look at this. It just creates these items with descriptions, and we can go even further. We can say add prices. And it really does its best to make it a realistic pricing for certain things. And if you don't really know how these things are priced in real life, for whatever reason, this is a great way to do that. And I don't know. It's been really liberating to use AI to help you with these sort of things, especially when you don't know how to do it yourself. And lastly, I know we talked about like sort of like formal documentation. In our schools and universities episode, we talked about class syllabi. So I'll say create a class syllabus for we have a wizarding school, like a magic school, an intro wizarding class with a focus. I'm so sorry, I'm horrible at typing. The focus on finance and business leadership. This makes no sense, but look at this. It generates all of this, and you can kind of take what you want. You can like put this in your own words, or you can just put it in verbatim. This is amazing, and it shows you all these fake textbooks that you have to get. This is the future, everyone. I don't know. It's been super fun to use AI in our server, and it's really exciting to see where it's gonna go. Like, this is ChatGPT. It's only been out for like a year and a half, maybe. So it's amazing how crazy these models have gotten. But these are just some of the use cases that we've been using. We don't rely on it too heavily because that kind of takes out the personal touch that you can give to it. But if you have any other suggestions on how you use AI or what other use cases it could be used for, please let us know in the comments down below. But with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'm out.